Hey man, just giving you a quick call. I just wanted to let you know that you are so close, dude. You're so much closer than you think. A lot of these big goals that we've had and these big aspirations, they're right around the corner for you, dude. So you just cannot give up. So stoked for you to see this. P.S. We bought a Lambo, so keep going, bro. We'll talk soon. Peace.
Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Bryson. This is the Bryson Everyday Project Podcast. This podcast is a little bit different than other ones out there. Here, I only focus on documentation. I don't focus on quality or being professional or being entertaining. If that sounds like something you're interested in, I'd love for you to stick around and give the show a listen. You can also follow me on Instagram at BRQUSE. Thank you so much. Here's the show. Yo, what's going on? It is currently 9:01 p.m. It's November 18th, Tuesday, 2025. I wonder if in the future I'll listen to these and hear myself say the date and think, holy shit, that's so long ago, you know? I wonder if in 10 years I think 2025, holy shit, this is 2035, you know? I don't know. Because I say the date now in real time, and to me, right now, it just seems redundant because no shit, that's what the day is. These are every single day, you know, but if these are meant to be listened to in the future, then I don't know. Regardless kind of whatever happens in the future with these episodes, I don't know. I don't really give a shit anymore. I'm going to record one every single day. I'm sure that AI or I'm sure we could figure something out to go through and scrub every single audio file and get some kind of timeline and key events, and I think that'll be the ultimate timeline thing, whatever you want to call it. So still going to continue doing these. I have never thought about discontinuing this at all. I really haven't in any type of way. The only thing that I've ever entertained was there for a minute was no longer updating or uploading them. It would be, I would just record them and then I would upload them later, or I would just have them for the future. But I've never entertained the idea of absolutely stopping. So no worries there. So anyway, today was a great day. It was actually so great that it became stressful because of everything that I was doing. And I'm going to try to open this up so I can talk about it as I go. Is it even open? So how do I launch this? So if I pull this up, let's try again. I don't know how to run the server. Hold on, let me ask it. How do I turn on the server so I can access my website? That was the fastest I've ever typed without a typo in my life. Holy shit. You are projected to reach your usage limits by the 25th based on current usage. Consider switching to a different model or enabling pay-as-you-go to avoid interruptions cycle. What is my usage? Well, that's kind of shitty. You are projected to reach my usage limits in the next week based on your current usage. Consider switching to a different model or enabling pay-as-you-go to avoid interruptions until your cycle resets. Huh. So what do I got to do? I got to open a new terminal window and navigate to the front end directory. What? Navigate to the backend directory and start the server. How do I do that? If you haven't already, activate your virtual environment. I don't know how to do any of this shit. We're going to pause and figure it out. Hold on 1 second. Okay, and we're back. Figured it out. I didn't know that I had to do all that shit to turn it on. I turned everything off purposely to give it a reset, and because there were some bugs that I couldn't figure out, so I wanted to restart everything. But anyway, I figured it out. But anyway, today was a good day. It was such a good day that it was kind of shitty towards the end because I was killing it, making so much progress, and my brain, I just got so consumed with this. I made so much progress, and it's wonderful. But there's just certain bugs and things that I really don't know how to fix, and that's the problem that I knew I would run into if I decided to take this route. which is using AI to code, because I know my way around certain things, but other things I'm clueless. So I use a lot of Control F to find what I think it's talking about, and then I'll go in there and I'll just kind of quote read the room with the code, and I'll look at I would say I understand the structure of it enough to figure out how to change certain things. And at that point, it's just trial and error, adjust a number, save, test it out, see if it changes anything. If it doesn't, then restart, try something, That actually worked multiple times today, so I'm fine. But anyway, I have made so much progress on this website, this software, this program, whatever you want to call it. So much progress. It's fantastic. And I really like some of these ideas that I come up with. And I mean, kudos to this AI shit, because the stuff that I think of and see in my head and I'm able to write it out, it actually does a very good job at mirroring what's in my brain. So I guess that's attributed to how I write the prompts, which I guess is pretty good. But yeah, I mean, just the way that the filters are laid out, just the way the sort. I mean, there's a lot of things that I don't like. There's a lot of bugs. I wouldn't call them bugs, but there's just a few things that definitely need to fix, And I don't know how to fix them right now, but it's honestly not important, so it's fine. But I've been having so much fun building this that I actually didn't even really do much for Mina today. I did, well, this morning I did a little bit, and everything's fine. We're going to have a call tomorrow and go over a lot of this stuff. I'm going to show him this website, this software that I'm building, and go from there. But everything has been, I've rebuilt so much so quickly, and part of it is kind of concerning of how quickly I've rebuilt everything, because I should have just done this from the start. But I don't know, because I had to go through the whole Notion thing to think everything through, to make everything work the way that it ought to work. And I had to think through every variable and outcome, and maybe now that I've already thought through a lot of that stuff, I can now just from memory, I guess, almost just write these prompts and then have it code itself. But there's just so much that I've already done, and so if I were to keep up this current pace, I guarantee you I'd finish this. Everything that I have spent working on for inside of Notion for every coach, with all the automations, with all the databases, with everything that I've been working on for the last 3 or 4 months, I guarantee you I could finish this in the next week with everything that I've made so far. Maybe even the next 2 weeks. I don't know. Before the end of the month, for sure. But yeah, I would say, when is Thanksgiving? Let's see. Next Thursday? I bet you I could finish this before Thanksgiving if I keep up everything that I'm doing now. Because it's so fast, It's so fast. And the things that I'm able to do, the biggest thing with all this is that with Notion, I had to connect every automation and every relation and roll-up and formula and everything manually, bit by bit. With this stuff, I just run a prompt. I say, hey, we're going to make a new page. I mean, this is a literal prompt that I think that's wrong usage of the word literal, but there's a prompt that I gave Cursor, which was, hey, we're going to add a new section. We're going to call it coaching, and then we're going to put all the coaches on the left, and then we're going to put how many clients they have on the right. So that's going to feed off of the master log if they're assigned, if the client is assigned a coach. If the coach is assigned a client, we're gonna know that, we're gonna count it, and then we're gonna put how many clients each coach has. Then we're gonna allow the user to click on that number and then see all the clients that the coach has, and then we're gonna be able to see the day that they started and what day of the program they're currently on. Send that out, and then within 30 seconds, it is hard coded in, it works perfectly, and everything is good to go. And right there, I mean, that really is how long it took me to create that. And then I thought, okay, we're gonna create 3 more sections. We're gonna do program types, nutrition types, and then check-in frequency. We're gonna count how many clients have both of those, or how many clients have each of those, and then we're gonna, same thing, click on the list, and it's gonna show you how many people there are, and we're gonna count how many clients there are per each frequency, per each program type, per each nutrition type, and it's gonna be a count, and then that's it. And I'm done, and it calculates it all. I mean, I literally was able to do some toy box shit as well today. The longest client name, longest client first name, longest client last name, shortest client name, shortest client first name, shortest client last name, most syllables in a client's name, least syllables in a client's name, longest active client. There's 5, so we have first, second, third, fourth, fifth place. We have zodiac sales, so the most amount of sales per zodiac sign. So if the sale was done during an Aries month or a Pisces, fun fact, I thought it was Piskus almost my whole life. Learned that last year. Gemini, Sagittarius, I don't give a fuck. Capricorn, whatever. It will say how many sales were made during that. So if there was a sale, so John Davis, April 18th, so he's an Aries. Mark Allen, Donald King, Betty King. These guys were all sold in the astrological zone of Aries, however you say that. So whatever. And then we have the month sales. How many sales were made in April, in every month of the year, and then sorted by highest to lowest. So 4 sales in April, 3 sales in January, 3 in March, 2 in May. And then how many sales were made in each week of the year? So there's 52 weeks in a year, obviously. So how many sales were made in each week? So 1 through 52. So in week 15, we had 3 sales. In week 3, we had 2. In week 10, we had 2. And I made all of this in 20 minutes. It was so simple. But if I were to do this in Notion, this would probably take me multiple days because I have to connect every individual thing and figure out the formula. This is code. There's no rules. It just knows. It's AI. It just fucking knows. So it's done. And in doing this, it made me realize the power of showing PRs, if you want to call it that, for sales or for whatever, because that can be something that the team strives for. If they know, for example, the record month, I don't know, if they're doing this for multiple years, right, then they're going to know, let's just say this is year 3. They're going to know that year 1, they had 5 sales in April. Year 2, they had 10 sales in April. So if they want to beat the record, they need to get 10. Or maybe their first year they did 10, their second year they did 7. So that way they know they didn't beat the record last year, but they can break it this year. And this is for just this month. So they have that going for them. And they have the all-time record for most sales in a month. They have that going for them as well. They have the most sales per week. They have the most sales per zodiac sign, And so we can use this information almost as motivation for somebody to want to close more, to push for it, to break a record. Because I can't remember who the trainer was or who said it, but they said that they train their clients and they track everything, and their only goal per workout is to hit a new PR. Because if you track everything, the only thing you have to do to set a new PR every workout is to do something more or longer or heavier or whatever than you did in the past. It doesn't matter which one. Just track everything, and that way you can look and say, oh, I've only ever done 10 reps on bench press. Well, if I do 11, that's the most reps I've ever done, PR. And if you track everything, then you can always PR, and maybe that gives you more motivation to want to go back in there and kick some more ass, because every time you go in there, you're literally doing something you've never done before. So I actually think this is quite powerful, but that's not the point. The point is I made all this in an hour. And I actually spent more time than I'd like to admit trying to figure out some of these bugs when I really should have just moved the fuck on. One of the bugs I'm looking at right now, and it's really just irking me. I don't know how to explain it, but it's a status button. So you click on it and you can select active, inactive, onboarding, or on pause. And you click on it, it'll say those 4 things. What it should do is display what I just said over everything so it's clear and you can select one. But what it's doing is displaying it under the current ones. So it's this ghost translucent effect, and it looks horrible. Definitely not something I would ever put out. It's functional, it works, but not something I'd want to put out, like I said. So I spent a lot of time trying to figure that out, and I couldn't. So super shitty. It's fine. but it is what it is. But I came up with this filtered system. I came up with this sorting system. I think it's nice. I think it's very straightforward. Nothing is crowded. There's not so much information on the screen that it's confusing. And yeah, so I'm going to continue working on this for sure. I'm really going to push for it. I'm really trying to be smart about this and just generate as much as I can, make sure that it works logically and that things calculate correctly, and then go back and kind of test things out, make sure that things work the way they, or I guess make sure that there's no bugs, click everything, try different combinations of things, and make sure everything works, I guess, you know. So there's a few things that I'm really not sure how to do, which would be how to edit only one specific coach's or business's dashboard or whatever, so that their changes only reflect on theirs, but also make it so when I do make an edit that I want to push out to everybody, they all get it. So I'm not really sure how to do that. I'm going to actually ask Cursor, how would I go about making edits? Okay, let's see. I have a software I am building that I want to be able to push out updates and every client will get it. But with every client, I want to be able to customize their systems to them and their needs without affecting any other clients. So, for example, let's say I have a whole system for client A, but client B wants extra systems and current ones altered. How can I do this using Cursor to only edit one client's systems? What all is required to make this happen? How would I have to structure my prompts to ensure the target client's systems were changed and no one else's? I'm curious to see what this says. I don't even know what. Let's see. Multi-tenant database structure. Add a tenant organization layer to your database. Code structure for customization. Organize code to support per tenant customization. There's a whole bunch of shit it's showing me. Looks like a flow chart made in Notepad. Configuration and driven customization. Use a config system to enable, disable, and customize features. Middleware for tenant isolations. Add middleware to identify the tenant and apply their config. Feature flag system. Use feature flags to enable, disable features per tenant. How to structure cursor prompts for client-specific changes. I need to add a custom revenue forecasting feature for, what does it say? For client B, organization ID. Should only be visible active for client B. Add a new client endpoint. Create a new front-end I feel like this is risky business. Adding analytics, customer lifetime value that should be available for a client. I don't even know. Modify the analytics dashboard for client B to include a new custom metric widget. Always specify the tenant for client B. Specify exact file paths. Explicitly exclude shared code. So my vision was to customize the software per person. I don't really know how to do that. It just told me, but seems like this could get messy. Is this a good approach for having less than 100 clients at a time? I don't even know what I'm asking. Do I need validation? What the fuck am I even asking? For a simpler approach is usually better. Here's a more practical architecture. What to keep. Database multi-tenancy still essential for database essentially. Configuration-driven customization. What to simplify. Avoid separate code directories per client. Use config/feature flags instead. Avoid separate code bases. One code base with conditional logic. Avoid complex middleware. Simpler tenant identification. Instead of separate files per client, use one config file like, oh, okay. So what it's showing me is it's saying client A, their name, client A, and then what features they get. And so what it's saying is analytics, reports, custom dashboard, true, true, true. Next one is analytics, reports, custom dashboard, revenue forecasting, true, 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 true. Instead of separate files, use feature flags within shared code. So essentially what I'm doing is building everything in one, but choosing which clients get which systems, correct? Yes, that's a simplified approach. Build all features in one code base and use configuration and control which clients see which features. What if one system for client A works one way, but the same system for client B must work a different way because client B has a system that alters another system's functionality. So what if one system for client A works one way, but the same system for client B works a different way because client B has a system that alters another system functionality that wouldn't be altered for client A because they don't have that system. In other words, how can I change functionality per system based on what's available? Planning next moves. That's what it's saying. What you planning? This is about feature dependencies and conditional behavior. Here's how to handle it. The problem. Client A has analytics, works one way. Client B has analytics, advanced reporting. Advanced reporting changes how analytics works. Exactly. Track feature dependency system. Track feature dependencies in config. So it's showing me client A, features, analytics true, reports false. Client B, features, analytics true, reports true, revenue forecasting true. Feature dependencies, analytics enhanced by report. See, this stuff right here, this is stuff where I can pick it up, but I don't understand how it works. I can recognize what I'm looking at, but I don't know how. I would say looking at it's very simple. I understand what I'm looking at, but I don't know how it works. Make systems aware of other enabled features. So I guess I would just use a bunch of if statements, right? Use a plugin hook pattern. We just can register modifications. Conditional logic, there we go. So if, yeah, else if, yep. I think I shared this before in the show, but essentially all that life is a whole bunch of if-then statements if this happens, then this happens. If this doesn't happen, then this happens. If that doesn't happen and that doesn't happen, then this happens. It's a whole bunch of else if then else, statements. Bunch of coding jargon. Front end. Real world example. Client A has client management standard workflow. Client B has client management plus automated workflows. Workflow is automated. Feature aware functions. Can I also create a dashboard? Let's see. Master dashboard for the backend operations team, me, to handle all the config stuff from a visually appealing dashboard UI, such as seeing each coach's client's team and what they have access to, and then checking boxes off and having the backend functionality know this and behave accordingly. I would rather do that than work in code, so if I can code a dashboard for me to operate things. I don't even know why I'm asking this. I know you can. It's fucking code. You can make anything. Yes, an admin dashboard for managing client conversion is a good fit. Here's how to build it. Backend API endpoints. See, this is some stuff that I'm going to have to test out very heavily, because we're talking about messing with other people's data. See, it's giving me a whole thing of code right now. I don't need that. Front end, create a new admin dashboard page. Okay, so it's giving me a whole thing. I don't need it to do that. I just want to see what it's going to say after this, though. See, this is insane. It just wrote me the code for everything that I just talked about. Add the admin route to app.tsx. Import admin dashboard. Add to routes. Security, admin only access. Real-time config loading. Update your feature loading to read from the database. This is insane. When you uncheck a feature, front-end sends API request, backend updates database. All feature requests use the new config. Changes apply immediately. Take note of this in this project, as I will want to utilize this in the future. One thing I've noticed is you can actually tell it to take note of this, remember it, and it actually makes a little README file with all these notes that I take. So, pretty cool. Well, as far as if I were to make this non-custom per person, it would be much simpler, as you can hear. But because I'm going to customize it per person, at least that's a good selling point, good value proposition. Your own little personal web developer. It would be much simpler, but because I'm going to customize it, it does get a little trickier. But I do think that this will be a relatively simple setup, as long as I can test to make sure that things work. One thing that's cool is with this, I can create as many accounts as I want and test things out and play with things and whatever else. With Notion, I couldn't be a test account. I couldn't create anything and mess around with it. And for what I mean is, I can be the CEO and the admin and whatever with all permissions, and I can test everything out. But I want to be able to test it out as somebody who's not the owner or the admin. I want to be able to test it as somebody who's a guest or just a normal member. Couldn't do that in Notion. But with this, I can create as many accounts as I want and mess around with stuff and do all that, see if I can find bugs and all that, So, and then try to mess with certain data points. One thing I can think of is I'm going to have 3 test accounts. Every client is just going to be a client's name that starts with letter A, and we're only going to do things in April and August. Then we're going to have a whole bunch of clients in the second one. Maybe they'll start with J, all the clients, and we're going to go June, July, January. And then we'll have another one. Maybe it'll be March, May, That's it. And we'll call them M clients, you know. That way, if anything does copy over, screw up, or anything like that, I'll know, because just looking at it'll be very easy to spot, you know. So I think designing a test in that way to make it easy to spot, I think it's probably a good call, rather than just assuming it all goes to plan, you know. And then making sure that nothing crosses over, you know, that will be very important. So I think that's what I'll probably be working on soon. But anyway, enough about all that. This stuff gets me fired up. I mean, I get so excited about this. But tomorrow, what I'm going to do is continue working on stuff for Mina. I'm going to have the call with him. Probably going to go over everything that I have built. That's what I foresee happening. Part of me thinks it won't, because he's been shitty with communication lately, so it makes me think he's stressed and very busy with stuff, which is fine. But I also think that it's so interesting. I'm just thinking about how I can incorporate so much into everybody's own website, but it's so tough. It's tough because I don't know. Anyway, I am going to keep on working on stuff tomorrow with Notion, get all that set up for him, make sure everything works the way that it should work, and then deliver it, and then hopefully we'll be good to go, and then I can continue working on this. I'll tell you what, though, after building everything on this website where it's all custom and it looks nice and clean, going back to Notion, I really think Notion is shitty. I mean, before I started doing this, I thought it was polished and clean and nice as shit, and I mean, kind of is. But the more I work on the website, and then compare to Notion, I think, what the fuck is that? You know? And I'm looking at Notion right now, and it's clean, but there's just so much shit going on the screen. Oh man, dude, I don't know. There's just so much happening. I learned a lot. I mean, there's nothing wasted here. I learned a lot. I would consider myself a Notion pro now, but on to bigger and better things now. That's for sure. Everything that I'm building here in this website is going to be a game changer for any coach that uses it, for sure. And I guess in some ways we're kind of restarting, because now I got to get this to train Mina ASAP so they can use it and use the real product here and get all the analytics and things like that. So I just like this because it's much easier to edit things, much easier to change things. When I make a change, it goes out to everybody. Everybody gets the updates. It all works, you know. So, oh man, one thing that does suck though is, well, I'm sure that there's a way. I know that people do it. There's no way that people don't, very obviously. But I don't know how to make this. I don't know how to make this code accessible so that somebody else can work on it as at the same time that I do. I don't know how to do that. I would like to figure that out, because I know that Karan would be very valuable in helping me with that. But at the moment, he's trying to set up some automations for Trey, which is saving me from having to do that, which is awesome, which makes me even more want to get this out there so we can generate some income so I can pay him. So anyway, yeah, I'm just clicking around on here. It's just so clean. I'm such a fan. And it is objectively clean. It's nice. But anyway, I think it's going to be the end of the show. Really fired up about the stuff. So tomorrow I'm just going to work on Mina's stuff. Probably continue working on this. Got the call with Mina tomorrow. And we'll go from there. So that's everything. Appreciate you guys listening. Again, it's Tuesday, November 18th, 9:39 p.m., 2025. I think it's episode 761. Peace.